Hey guys, we are out here at one of our commercial properties today. As you can tell, we kind of got a mess going on. This originally started as a slab leak. The water main actually started at the street and now of course fed into this way. So we ended up busting up the slab around the toilet right here. As soon as we busted this out, we did find the water line, but it was actually inside a structural beam that's inside the slab. So before we kept on going and had to do all the fun that goes into the structural side of the, fixing that beam, repairing it, that's going to actually damage the structural integrity of this slab. So of course, before we would get into that, because the cost will skyrocket immediately, we actually ended up doing a reroute. So as you can see right here, when our plumbers come out, we had the vanity out, had to cut the sheetrock out, and then all you can see is ProPress and PEX now, because what we ended up doing is actually isolating that at the manifold. Then we could locate which lines go where, isolate those, do a leak detection, so then we can kind of pretty much do trial and error on each one versus just trying to rip everything out and do it that way. Trying to keep it as cost effective and as fast as efficient as possible. And then of course rerouted everything with PEX as much as possible. So other than that, we had all the moisture, everything was on the floor. This actually had water, standing water on the carpets, on all the vinyl tiles, everything. So as you can see, we kind of ripped everything out, did our demolition, dried everything out. So it's typically a waiting room on our commercial building for our company we handle the maintenance on. Right now it's a staging area because we're waiting on insurance to do their thing. So a big thing to bring up is if you have commercial suites available or a commercial business and or a townhome, which of course would be your normal residential living situation. If you're in an apartment, you got maintenance guys, all that good stuff. Depending on a townhome, you might have an HOA maintenance team. But out here, you actually have 3 suites in a row. So we actually killed and capped off this water here to make sure we stopped all the water before we could actually get it repaired. We ended up getting phone calls from angry individuals saying, hey, why the heck don't I have any water? That's because this water actually fed the next 2 suites. That was mainly due to the building code not being upgraded, and of course keeping up to date with the current plumbing code, because right now all 3 suites are on 1 meter. So we actually talked to our plumber, but of course the cost to do all that was just not cost effective or beneficial for these guys here. So we ended up capping this off, rerouting up into the attic, putting a couple extra valves on there just in case anybody on these 3 suites ever has a water issue again. We can actually isolate it to keep the other individual suites with water still. So just make sure whenever you guys are looking at commercial properties, have your realtor and or whoever your leasing agent, stuff like that, just go through that with you to make sure who's responsible for what. Because right now, luckily the staff knew what was going on. They called us real quick. We were out here within an hour. Got the water turned off and started pretty much just ripping everything out of here. We of course had to shut down the clinic just for the liability and the safety concerns for all our patients in here, just to make sure everybody was covered and of course out of this area just in case for contamination also. So if y'all have any questions like that, or you do have commercial properties, we handle these as well, along with residential, all of our water damage, moisture, stuff like that. We of course want to attack these as quick and efficient as possible before it turns into bacteria that of course turns into all sorts of nasty stuff from there. This is Garrett Werewolf.